Brooke Zebra. Today we're going to talk about budgets with real numbers. So the way I'm going to do this is we're just going to go over my February budget. This is something that we're going to do every month, so you can see kind of what's going on with me. Okay, so this is what my February budget looks like. So there are a bunch of different ways you can do your budgeting. I've tried a couple of different apps. I tried Mint, I tried Excel, I tried Google Docs, I tried just writing it out on a piece of paper. And then when I found out about Dave Ramsey, I started using the Everydollar app. So this is what my Everydollar budget looks like. So you can see at the top you have income, and then below that you have all of the things that you spend money on. So my paycheck from UVA for my grad student stipend is going to be $2,000, and actually I already got that this month, so I get paid $2,000 every month until this summer from my UVA paycheck for my grad student stipend. And then AC Moore is the craft store that I work at for extra money. Not really extra money because it's going towards debt, but so that's, and I get from that I get paid weekly. And then there are four pay periods from AC Moore for February. This first one is 0 because I was in the hospital with pancreatitis. That's one thing that you have to think about when you are chronically ill and budgeting. Sometimes the budget doesn't work out because you get sick, you go to the hospital, and you miss a paycheck. Luckily, my UVA paycheck, they are very flexible because I'm a student, so I pretty much still get paid even when I have to be out. Because, when I had to be out for a month when I got sepsis, they still paid me because I was still a student there. But obviously with something like retail, like AC Moore, if you're not working, they're not going to pay you because I'm just an hourly employee, which is, that's fine, it's reasonable. So anyway, normally I would get about $120 a paycheck. What I normally budget in here is just $100, and then anything extra obviously goes to debt. Giving, I don't have anything in there right now. And then emergency fund, I'm putting $100 back in just to top my emergency fund back off because back up because I did have to spend some of that money on this hospital stay, on medical stuff. And then you can put in all these different savings, and if you go over to the right, you can make something a fund. So you would say like, what your starting balance is and what your savings goal is for that fund. So I have a wedding fund because Bill and I are getting married next October. A gift fund, so this would be things like birthdays and Christmas, and a medical fund. So this would be just money that I put aside for when I am thinking I'm going to have medical bills. I've kind of been using my emergency fund for that, which isn't great, but I don't have check writing privileges out of this medical fund right now, so that's why I've been just kind of throwing everything in that emergency fund. Okay, so the next line down would be housing. And you might notice that I have 0 in rent and electricity. Starting this month, my fiance has been paying all of that because he knows I'm trying to get out of debt before we get married. And then also me going into the hospital a couple of weeks ago, I think really kick-started that because I am going to have pretty substantial medical bills from 5 days in the hospital. So that's kind of what's going on there. But just so you can see, so we have an item for rent, miscellaneous, so that would be like repairs, blinds, pillows. We're not buying any stuff like anything like that, but if you're out of debt, if you're in your baby step 7, or for non-Dave Ramsey people, if you're just on the point where you're enjoying your money because you're financially stable, yeah, buy yourself some nice pillows if they're in your budget, but that's where you'd put it. Electricity, our electricity is normally about $100 a month. Where we live, our electricity is kind of expensive because our apartment doesn't have natural gas. I really wish it did. But that's about, oops, that's normally about $100 a month, but that's another one that my fiance is taking over. And then my mobile phone, that's like 57 usually. So I try to round things up so that I'm not overdrawing my account. But I do try to account for every little thing. So you'll see like iTunes storage is $1. So I spend $1 a month so I can not store my pictures on my phone basically. And then Kindle Unlimited is $9.99 a month. So I just put in $10. And I do read a lot. I try to read at least a book a week. So the Kindle Unlimited is really nice, but it is something that like I cut serious out of my budget. I'm not paying for Netflix. I don't. I got rid of a lot of my other subscriptions, and I'm keeping that one just because I really do use it a lot. So auto, gas, and oil. I really just put gas in that. I don't do monthly oil changes. I don't drive that much, but I put $100 in there. I normally only end up spending like 70 because gas is kind of expensive in our area. I drive a Corolla, and I don't drive far for work, but somehow I always end up spending about $70. Even when I fill up at Costco. So, but I still put in 100 because I like to have that extra buffer because if, Bill and I have an emergency and we have to drive to North Carolina to see his family, or we have to drive to Pennsylvania to see my family, that's another tank of gas each way. It's a little bit more to go see my family, probably like a tank and a half each way. So that adds up. I like to have that buffer in there. And I'm also the kind of person that I don't like having my car below a quarter of a tank of gas. I am constantly running late for things and I'm really tired in the mornings. So, that's a good trick if you're like me. Always keep your car at least a quarter of a tank full, because you never are on the way to an appointment and realize, oh no, I don't have enough gas to get there, and I only budgeted enough time to drive from my house or from work to the appointment. So that's a trick for you. But anyway, $100 for gas. And then $100 for groceries. Bill and I have a joint account for groceries, so I've already cashed that out from my UVA paycheck into our joint account, which is going to be our completely joint account when we're married. We're not combining our finances completely until we're married, obviously. But for groceries, since I do all the grocery shopping, we each put $100 in that account every month. We don't normally spend $200 a month, but we do pay for things like paper towels and cleaning products and things out of that account, especially. And I also get like tampons and stuff out of that account. And then lifestyle. So miscellaneous. Normally, this would be things like if I wanted to buy a book, or if I wanted to go to the movies, or if I wanted to get my hair done, or my nails done, or get some makeup. I'm doing a no spend for all of 2018, so most of those things would not be allowed. Going to the movies would be allowed if someone invited me. You can watch my no spend video about that. But I still like to keep a miscellaneous in here because sometimes stuff happens that you can't anticipate. That's just life. And I always feel like I'd rather over budget stuff like that, because at the end of the month, if I don't spend that money goes straight to my debt or straight to my savings if I'm having to rebuild my Baby Step 1 savings account. So I'm leaving that in there because you never know. You don't know what you don't know. So there we go. That's that one. Let's see. Okay, so auto insurance. This may seem like a lot for 1 month, but I pay my auto insurance twice a year. You could actually save quite a bit of money by doing that. So that's why it's that high. That would be a lot for just 1 month of auto insurance. I mean, my car is relatively new, but it's not that, it's a Corolla, as I said before. um, and then medical, pharmacy, and dentist. I don't have any dental appointments this month, so didn't put anything in there. Pharmacy and medical, I always put this in every month. I don't always have to go to the doctor every month. My health has been pretty good up until having to go to the hospital a couple of weeks ago. But it seems like I always get sick, I'll get a sinus infection and have to get like $10 worth of prescriptions, or and a lot of times for me, it takes several tries of different prescriptions to find what's actually going to knock out whatever I have. So $70 is usually a pretty safe bet. And then medical, that $100, like it's not really enough to cover a substantial medical bill. Like my hospital stay a couple of weeks ago, that's obviously going to be a lot more than that. But it's enough to cover my $25 copay for, if I needed to go to the doctor this month. And then anything above that, it would have to come out of like that miscellaneous fund, or I would have to adjust back down on groceries or auto, gas, and oil. Like I would have to be really, really strict with where I was driving, or I'd have to take it out of my emergency fund, which sucks. Just to be honest, I don't think there's another word for it, having to take money out of your emergency fund, but that's what it's there for. Okay, so then the last part, probably either the most or the least fun part, is debt repayment. So I have a couple credit cards that I paid off this week. So this was actually because I get paid at the end of every month for the next month. I already wrote that I paid these off. So I paid off all my credit cards this month. I only had this one U.S. bank card left, and you can see I made a really big payment to that. And then my car, this isn't my normal car payment amount. I got to make a little extra payment, which is always nice. So you can I like to put these in the order that I'm planning on repaying the debt. This American Express card, actually, I've already paid off, so I just haven't taken it off yet. But so like these are all my student loans, and I have the percent interest next to each one. So once I get through these, I'm gonna start tackling these student loans. And if another nice thing on this, if you have the online login, I'm not sure on the app where this is, but you can see where you're progressing through the baby steps. You can see the $1,000 I've already saved in my account, and then the debt snowball, and you can see how much money you have left in your debt. This one, I'm not as fond of the way it calculates it, because there's not a way to put in what your initial debt was, because I've paid off about $16,000 in debt since last July. Just working my butt off and getting lucky. But this doesn't reflect that. Like, this only shows the debt that you've paid for that month. But it is nice to show, especially when you're in these beginning baby steps, the progress. I don't think it does anything for the rest of these baby steps. Hopefully by the time you're saving for retirement and your kids' college, you're past needing a website to congratulate you. But it is nice. So of all the budget apps that I've tried, and there are a few that I didn't mention, I really like Everydollar. I use the free version. I feel like it keeps me a little more accountable, because I have to actually enter my own transactions, and you kind of feel the hurt of spending the money a little more. But if you don't need transactions to show up instantly with the premium version, because they don't. Sometimes they take a couple of days. That's nice too, because you do have to drag each transaction into the different categories, so you still feel that accountability. But I am the kind of person where I carried a checkbook for years, so I knew exactly how much money I was spending, and I think getting out of that habit is really kind of what started me down the path of not taking really good care of my money. So I really like this because I can use it as a checkbook, especially because you have it on your phone and you can just add transactions immediately, and you can see how much money you have left in each of your budget categories. You can see how much you've spent. It turns red when you've gone over, which is no fun, but it's nice. It keeps you really accountable, and I like it a lot. So anyway, that's my February budget. If you have any questions about my budget, how to do a budget, what your budget should look like, let me know. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was instructive for you, and I will see you next month with my March budget.